7 vaccines manufactured to tackle this global health emergency. Well, Nigeria got its first shipment of 4 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine and about 40% of the population vaccinated already. But just as the country heaves a sigh of relief, the virus strikes again for the 3rd time. The Delta variant, classified as a variant of concern due to its fast mode of transmission, scarily already in 111 countries since it was first detected in India. A few days ago, Nigeria recorded the Delta variant, and the federal government is not resting on its oars as measures are being initiated to reduce risk of widespreading while urging Nigerians to ensure strict adherence to public health protocols. As at 16th January 2021, the Nigerian COVID-19 dashboard showed 169,206 cases recorded and 2,126 deaths so far. So frightening, you might say. So what do we need to checkmate the spread of this pandemic apart from the non-pharmaceutical measures? How prepared are the government health agencies? How can we collectively as a people do to support government to stop what many refer as a variant of no mercy? On that note, stay with Weekend File to find out with my guest, Dr. Yahaya Disu, NCDC Head of Risk Communications Division, to shed more light on the topic and discuss the 3rd wave of COVID-19. I am Jumma Yuso. Let's get the news. Now, in the midst of adversity, leaders must and are expected to remain calm so that the people being led will follow in their footsteps. Vice President Yomi Oshibajo said this at the 25th anniversary conference of the Redeemers International Leadership Academy, themed Winning in Adversity, organized by the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Vice President Oshibajo stated that it is in times of adversity, difficulty or hardship that leaders are most relevant and most needed. In the virtual keynote address at the conference, the Vice President stressed the need for leaders to remain unruffled because in adversity, especially where the future looks bleak, people want to give up, retreat, go back, and they certainly don't want to go forward. Vice President then encouraged leaders to act in faith and not fear when they are faced with crisis, especially in existential crisis. Meanwhile, the position of the ECOWAS heads of state and governments in resolving to establish a trade promotion organization network is to build a more robust and broader economic space for trade and investment for the people of the West African sub-region. Vice President Yomi Oshibajo at a gala organized by the network at the end of its inaugural meeting in Abuja thanks members to work towards enabling the sub-region to benefit maximally from the African Free Trade Continental Agreements. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi tells us more.
This is what characterized the gala night, with dances that have the tone of unity and oneness among Africans. Live music from a young Nigerian named DK, who captivated the entire audience, and the promotion of rich African foods. Vice President Yomi Oshibajo says the establishment of the ECOWAS Trade Promotion Organization Network is a very far-sighted and exciting initiative.
I think the first thing is that the network must drive inclusive trade, good inclusive trade initiatives in the sub-region. Secondly, I think the network must expand intra-regional trade in the ECOWAS region.
We should be mindful that our strength is in our unity. As such, the ECOWAS Commission reiterates its commitment to regional integration, which still remains the hallmark of the vision of our founding fathers.
Through this TPO network, we will work assiduously towards facilitating the ease of trade, particularly for our MSMEs within the ECOWAS region and Africa at large.
Others who spoke include Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema. In Abuja, Jide Onifade and
Action Aid Nigeria supports the reluctance of Nigeria to sign onto the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Global Tax Reform Deal. The deal states that if a company has a global turnover of more than 20 billion euros and a profit margin of more than 10%, then 20 to 30% of the profit in excess of 10% of revenue will be allocated to market jurisdiction using a revenue-based allocation key. The tax deal also set a global minimum tax rate of at least 15%. It will only apply to companies with a global turnover of more than 75 million euros. Action Aid Nigeria is displeased with the negotiation carried out by rich countries for their benefit. The deal calls for all countries to remove their unilateral measures to tax the digital economy, such as digital services taxes, and replace them with the new rules laid out. Action Aid Nigeria agrees with the concerns expressed by the African Tax Administration Forum, who immediately after the publication of the new deal stated that political pressure should not be brought on countries to apply these rules. Action Aid Nigeria recognizes and welcomes progressive moves by the federal government of Nigeria. The federal government says it will take possession of all antiquities stolen from Nigeria as soon as they are returned in line with extant laws. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Lagos. Anthony Fosun reports.
Let me state clearly here that in line with international best practices and the operative conventions and laws, the return of the artifacts is being negotiated bilaterally between the national governments of Nigeria and Germany.
The Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, stating categorically the position of relevant international conventions as it treats heritage properties belonging to the nation of origin. This clarification by the minister is coming on the heels of the negotiation for the return over 1,100 Benin bronzes stolen from Benin during the colonial rule that are today adorning museums in Germany.
Nigeria is the entity recognized by international law as the authority in control of antiquities originating from Nigeria. The relevant international conventions treat heritage properties as properties belonging to the nation and not to individuals or subnational groups.
Lai Mohammed said while in Berlin, he commended the German government for taking the lead in global efforts to repatriate all artifacts that were looted from Nigeria and, indeed, Africa.
That is why the Ministry of Information and Culture and the National Commission for Museums and Monuments have always involved both the Edo State government and the Royal Benin Palace in discussions and negotiations that have now resulted in the impending return of these antiquities. Please note that we are not just involved in the repatriation of Benin artifacts, we are also working on repatriating Ife bronzes and terracotta, Nok terracotta, or terracotta, the arts of the Benue River Valley, the Igbo Uku, the arts of Bida, the art of Igala, Jukum, etc.
In Lagos, Anthony Fosun, NTA News.
Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje has enjoined Nigerians to support President Muhammadu Buhari's quest of addressing socio-economic and developmental challenges bedeviling the country. He was speaking at the Northwest Zonal Town Hall meeting for the validation of the African Peer Review Mechanism Country Self-Assessment Report held in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa brings us the report.
The meeting brought together stakeholders from the academia, technocrats, security experts, economists, traditional and religious leaders from the Northwest geopolitical zone. It is to examine and validate country self-assessment report as part of the ongoing second African peer review mechanism flagged off by President Muhammadu Buhari in June this year.
The specific objectives are institutionalize and reinvigorate the APRM process in the country.
Because it will show the progress the country has made from the baseline of 2008 to other years.
Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who acknowledged the commitment of the president towards addressing the nation's development challenges, urged Nigerians to support him in this direction.
Signifies, Mr. President, sheer commitment in not only implementation of national priority development programs and the projects, but those of the African continent as a whole.
Issues considered at the meeting include economy, good governance, democracy, and political governance. Emir of Kano Amina Ado Bayero urged stakeholders to consider the implications of COVID-19 pandemic on socio-economic development of the country in their recommendations. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The need for independent judiciary reformed electoral process needs assessment in terms of project implementation and sustained fight against corruption have been advocated for a sustainable development and accelerated sub-regional and continental economic integration. Now, these are the deliberations of the North Central Zonal Town Hall meeting with the Country Review Mission for the validation of country self-assessment report on the ongoing second peer review of the Federal Republic of Nigeria holding in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. Ben Mitu reports.
African Peer Review Mechanism is a program of new partnership for African development (NEPAD), established in 2003 as an African self-monitoring mechanism to improve good governance and well-being of all citizens. Issues raised include lack of transparency in governance, corruption, and inadequate women's participation in governance.
When you give a woman a position, a woman can draw the board. The woman is a woman who knows what the house needs. While
Nasarawa state government commended President Muhammadu Buhari for consenting to be reviewed twice, the traditional institution gave assurances of cooperation and assistance where necessary.
We want to assure that we will always be there for you. Whatever kind of advice.
To the authorities of the African Peer Review Mechanism, the process is not meant to witch hunt, but to compare notes, identify grey areas, and at the end, improve the living standard of the people.
The business of sharing information is to advise one another so that Africa can move together.
From here, policies will be drafted to take care of issues that needs to be addressed in the nation.
Nigeria is the first West African country to have consented to a review twice since the coming of the present administration. In Lafia, Ben Mitu, NTA News.
The government of Canada has pledged cooperation and support to the African First Lady's Peace Mission in pursuit of the mission's peace-building efforts on the African continent. This was the outcome of Friday's virtual meeting between the Special Assistant to the President of Nigeria on African First Lady's Peace Mission, Dr. Mero Almakura, and the Canadian Minister of International Development, Karina Gold. Dr. Almakura highlighted women's role in peace building, the systemic barriers faced by women in conflict settings, and how Canada could further support the goals of the AFLPM on the continent. She emphasized the need for Canada and AFLPM to establish ways to deepen relationships and mobilize resources for the First Lady's Mission Secretariat to advance the women development. Talking legislative matters now, the House of Representatives is advocating for the fine-tuning of the law establishing the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission. The commission, in addition to granting licenses and regulating broadcasts, should also have powers to moderate in protecting subscribers. This formed part of the adopted recommendation of the House Ad Hoc Committee that investigated the non-implementation of the pay-as-you-go and increment in tariff by digital broadcast service providers. The House also urged that obstacles that make the use of NICOMSAT less attractive should be removed, as utilization of satellite is key to resolving the issue of high tariff. Now, it will no longer be business as usual for broadcasting organizations that allow their platforms to be used for incitement or anything that negates national unity. Director General of the Commission, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, said this when he met with selected media chief executives in Abuja. Adebola Brooks and Sunday reports.
Fake news, hate speech and other negative messages ride on the wings of the media. to reach their target audience to achieve their aims towards stemming the ties that threatens the nation's unity. The National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, is engaging media chief executives.
Because we have a red line, and that red line is national unity. Whatever crosses that boundary, then it's not acceptable. It's not going to be accepted by the Commission.
For the sake of emphasis, the broadcast code was again expanded.
And it's not going to tolerate any station that allows others to use it as a platform for creating disharmony. Any station that violates the code of NBC will definitely be penalized.
NBC is the body that regulates broadcast organizations in Nigeria. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
To other news now, 99 youth from 18 states are now equipped with skill in metal works, courtesy of the federal government Skills Development Fund, domiciled in the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. Mayor Ogidi was at the Metallurgical Training Center at Ajaokuta, Kogi State, and now reports.
Within the Ajaokuta Steel Complex quietly lies the Metallurgical Training Center, offering enviable manpower skills. 99 youths drawn from 18 states, 3 weeks of intensive handwork in metal machinery, welding and fabrication, as well foundry and pattern making technology. Skills acquired, spare parts given to take off in their own workshops.
I sincerely hope that you maximize the benefit this opportunity offered. As government is working towards reviving the operationalization of Ajaokuta Steel Complex, you may become one of the main operators here.
Variety of products on display, telling the ingenuity of the participants in 21 days.
I have my starter packs with me. I'll be going home with it, and then also the physical cash.
The excited youths appreciate Mr. President and Minister of State Mines and Steel Development, Uchechukwu Oga, with awards manufactured by them. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Let's talk health now. A suspected outbreak of cholera has claimed 18 lives under 24 hours at the livestock market, popularly known as New Artisan in Enugu. Ukeria Ugo reports that the medical experts at the State Ministry of Health have been on their toes providing medical assistance to abate the epidemic.
Arriving at the market at the time of filing this report, business activities were going on in spite of the outbreak. Although the leadership of the market took to their heels on citing NTA camera, other traders confirmed the incident.
Once they start purging and bombing, before you know, someone is dead. Yesterday, we buried let me say, 8 to 9 people. Today now we have 5 dead bodies. We bury in the morning. Currently now we have 4 dead bodies now.
It is cholera that is the cause. We are on it. We have activated the EOC, all the relevant groups. We have identified the pillars that will work, the stakeholders, resource needs, and so on. We are putting it all together. And as you can clearly see, some people have already started responding, and then we have received from the Medicines Sans Frontiers some initial supplies that will be used in the management of these cases where we are.
Meanwhile, experts have advocated the need for personal and environmental hygiene so as to prevent food contamination. In Enugu, Ukeria Ogu, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File. We'll take a break right now. When we return, our conversation will begin.
From the Federal Road Safety Commission.
The Federal Road Safety Corps appreciates the continuous support being received from the motoring public. Road traffic crashes are trending down, and concerted effort is being made by the government to improve on road safety management. As celebration approaches, it is expected that road users will undertake trips to visit families and loved ones. The Corps encourages you to conduct vehicle safety checks before embarking on your trip. Avoid night journeys, use your seat belts, avoid overloading and driving above prescribed speed limits. Comply with road traffic laws and regulations. Prevention is always the best approach to avoid road traffic crashes and injuries. I implore you all to please partner with FRSC to reduce road traffic crashes on our highways. Drive to save a life. I wish you all happy celebration.
The National Agricultural Land Development Authority invites the general public to the presidential commissioning of its first NALDA Integrated Farm Estate in Daura, Katsina State. Date, Monday 19th July 2021. Venue, Suduje, Daura Local Government, Katsina State. Time, 11 a.m. Special guest of honor, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All invited guests are expected to be seated before the arrival of Mr. President. Prince Paul Ikone, Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer, NALDA, announcer.
There are certain moments in the day when I need my me time to just unwind and indulge.
What is this?
The Cadbury goodness is in every pack of Cadbury 3-in-1 hot chocolate, making you feel cheerful and pleasant. Enjoy the Cadbury goodness.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers happily felicitates with our Muslim Ummah as we celebrate Eid al-Kabir. This is a time to celebrate with loved ones and to travel. Please, as you do so, do it with the understanding that other road users are important. Obey all traffic rules. Do not take unnecessary risks by overtaking speedily, by overloading your vehicle, by breaking traffic rules and not using your seatbelt or using your cell phone while driving. Let's show respect for one another. Life has no duplicate. It is better you arrive your destination safely than to be the one called late. For emergencies, please call 122. Happy Eid al-Kabir. Do enjoy your holidays. This message is from the National Union of Road Transport Workers. Professor Tajuddin Ibikunle Barua, President, National Union of Road Transport Workers, announcer.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. Its great value, it protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against tooth holes and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Either fever or stomachache. I keep him away from junk food.
She also feeds me apples. She says an apple a day keeps...
If you want to keep germs away, then also wash your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Meaning?
Germs and disease spread through the hand also. For this, use Dettol soap. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
The National Association of Road Transport Owners, in collaboration with the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, rejoices with all Muslim faithfuls as we celebrate Eid al-Kabir. We encourage all to relate with one another in trust as brothers and show respect for the rule of law. Please do drive safely as you travel. Show tolerance to other road users. Obey all traffic rules. Don't overspeed. Don't overload. Use your seat belts. Ensure your vehicle is in good condition, as extra care prevents accidents and loss of lives. It is better to arrive at destination safe but late than to lose your life and loved ones. For emergencies, call 122. Happy Eid al-Kabir. This message is from the National Association of Road Transport Owners. Yusuf Lawal Uthman, President, NATO, announcer.
Thanks for rejoining us. Nigeria recently joined countries with cases of the Delta variant of coronavirus. It has been observed that the number of positive cases have continued to increase worldwide, with Nigeria having fluctuating figure of the pandemic. In this report, Adebola Brooks and Sunday takes a look at the global development.
Nigeria confirmed our index on the 27th of February 2020, about 18 months after the country is apparently experiencing the third wave of the virus, just when it appears that life is returning to normal. The World Health Organization had announced that the current stage in the pandemic is compounded by fast-moving variants and shocking inequality in vaccination.
The world is watching in real time as the COVID-19 virus continues to change and become more transmissible.
In Nigeria, the second wave appears to have ended about 3 months ago, but the relaxation of non-pharmaceutical protocol, public affairs analyst Jide Ojo said, may be responsible for the current rise.
I recall what the federal government had to do during the Eid-el-Fitr celebration, where it closed all gardens and encouraged people to celebrate at home. If we are able to do that, we will be able to halt the spread.
Private establishments' face mask has now become a gate pass for people to gain entry, after which they either remove or pull it to the jaw level.
Gave an order to the permanent secretary to appoint a compliance officer and make sure that anybody entering the ministry is wearing a mask.
Although the official fatality figure in Nigeria may be less than 3,000, observers say government must reintroduce stringent measures on all preventive safety protocols. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
There are palpable fears in the air over positive upsurge of the cases of COVID-19 based on the detection of the Delta variant, a highly contagious strain of coronavirus. Correspondent Hakimat Aliu monitored public places across Abuja, the nation's capital, to observe level of compliance with the established preventive protocols.
To the statistics released by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, cases have consistently been on the rise in the country after confirmation of Delta variant, the most easily transmitted coronavirus disease. In spite of this worrisome development, observations in some schools, markets, parks and other strategic locations within the city of Abuja revealed that washing of hands, use of face masks and other COVID-19 protocols have been abandoned by many.
Wear our face mask. No, if you breathe well.
It caused a lot of rashes in my nose and my mouth, so I don't want to use the nose masks again.
Do you wear it in class? No. You don't wear it in class?
Yes. Concerned by this trend, FCT administration, through the Acting Secretary of Health, Dr. Kawu Mohammed, appealed to residents not to let down their guard.
We must not relent. We must continue to do what we need to do. The normal public health preventive measures that have been in place. And more recently, what is happening in Africa, if you see what WHO has been warning, that there are some states in Africa that have resurgence and they are in third wave already. Federal government has put very stringent measures for all those coming from the red flags of the world.
Many believe that there is need for intensified enforcement of the guidelines, while vaccination should be improved, as so far only 132,000 FCT residents have been captured for first and second dose of COVID-19 vaccine in Abuja. Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
Non-compliance with the COVID-19 containment protocols, recent statistics show, is the cause of gradual increase in infection rates in some parts of Nigeria and Lagos in particular. In spite of the increasing toll of the infection, Lagos residents have continued to flout safety guidelines. Omuleya Tokede Ogunfowora, who went to the streets of Lagos, now brings us details.
I spent some time at a popular area in Lagos, CMS to be precise, to observe and speak with people on COVID-19 safety protocols. But I was faced with the challenge of who to talk to, as many ignored me, not only because they were camera shy, but just because they weren't interested in the topic. This attitude is a threat to the fight against the virus and can unarguably be linked to the rising cases of new infections in the state. When Nigerians thought victory had come their way, when number of new cases dropped drastically, signaling the end of the second wave, the third wave raised its head.
If you are quite conversant with what's happening in the news and the outbreak of the variant, the Delta variant, I think it called for caution. I think that people need to understand that this thing is real.
Bus drivers have returned to carrying 100% passengers with only a handful wearing face masks with no hand washing points in view at motor parks. I also visited the popular perishable foodstuff market, Mile 12, where traders and consumers went about shopping with no caution.
No. I used to use it. I do keep it inside my bag whenever I want to go to bank or
But sure, you know that there's a new variant of the third wave.
We knew.
It is a relief to see that social distancing, temperature checks, and the use of face masks are strictly adhered to at every point of entry at the Murtala Muhammad Airport. The Lagos State government has remained relentless in ensuring that residents are educated and sensitized to take the COVID-19 vaccine. In Lagos, Imole Ayotukede Ogunfowora, NTA News.
Join me now in the studio to discuss the third wave of COVID-19 is Dr. Yahya Disu. He is the NCDC Head of Risks Communications Division. Thanks for joining us on Weekend Fire.
Thank you for having me.
Quite a worrisome situation we find ourselves. A third wave of COVID-19, Delta variant considered and classified as a variant of interest. Why are the numbers going up?
Indeed, it's worrisome because first and foremost, for this virus to spread, it has to move from somebody who is infected to a new person. And then the essence of the non-pharmaceutical interventions, that is the preventive and social measures that we use, is to contain the spread at source. So if somebody has it and he wears his face mask, he's not able to shed the virus. So, but Nigerians have abandoned that. Because their risk perception is now very low. So it's just a matter of time, and you will begin to see this, even though in the last 2 months before now, we have had a low number of cases in the country, even states that have done high number of tests. But then the cases are going up again because as long as we are having global surges across countries, it is expected that one day that we may experience it in Nigeria because people still come in and go in. Thank God for the stringent measures that federal government has put in place through Presidential Steering Committee for countries that are experiencing surges, especially this variant, this Delta variant. So if not for that, condition that government has put in place, we would have experienced a worse situation. But it can get worse because now we have picked this virus in our system. Some few cases have been reported, but it only starts with one case.
Yes, it starts with one case, and thousands of people are dead and millions around the world. What could you say is the problem? Because if government is able to put stringent measures, upgrade health facilities, make sure that we get vaccines to vaccinate maybe 40 million Nigerians, why are we being negligent with these protective measures as a people?
I think it has to do with our attitude towards our health generally. We don't value our health. We only value health when we have problems. And then let me remind you, when COVID-19 first came to the country, because people never knew the impact it could have, and because what we were hearing about Asia, Italy, everybody was afraid. But after a while, when we started reporting cases, and then when we started having asymptomatic cases, people who have the virus but they don't die, and then we begin to understand. So some people now feel, after all, they are not likely to die from it. But we still lose some loved ones, which we shouldn't have allowed to happen, because some of us are very vulnerable to this disease, and it is the close ones that can bring this virus to them. So then, people initially were trusting in information, but generally mistrust is a big problem in this environment. So that extends to, okay, after a while, then the effect of the lockdown, the economic impact. because once there is crisis of that nature, people want to attribute blame and they begin to find excuses. Then misinformation again compounded things. So it's difficult for people to believe what correct information is. And even then Nigerians started saying, I want to see somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that got infected.
So they felt the videos they were seeing out there is
so even when there was a time they were saying they wanted to see the cases in treatment center. Even when some media stations, I think NTA was one of them, and they recorded this, and evidence they were even saying they didn't want to even believe that. I don't understand why that should happen. But I was narrating this with someone. I say, from information to evidence, and when they don't believe in evidence, then that means experience will make someone believe this. Then during the second wave, when we have more cases, now people who are close to them, when they see that they have, and some are dying, people have to be on oxygen, and then you see that fear in Nigeria. So do we have to wait for that? No. Because we already know that this is happening across the world. India, for instance, India has similar environment with us, conditions, and everything in India you can find in Nigeria. And even they have better health system. But this third wave came through these variants. It means it can happen to us. So what we can do is we still have window of opportunity. If we can be strict with our preventive and social measures, we comply with this, then we can defeat the virus.
Indeed, we'll get to talk much about that vaccination, enforcement and safety protocols being put out there by the federal government and the people of Nigeria in complying with it. We'll come back right after this break. Don't go away.
He's not my real father. But you already know this, Lara darling.
Yes. But after 25 years, she just told me who my real father is.
Baby, come inside now. Where is it in the car?
Introducing Glow U2 plans. Feast your eyes from as low as 50 naira for 1 hour. Simply dial *777#.
Either fever or stomachache. I keep him away from junk food.
She also feeds me apples. She says an apple a day keeps...
If you want to keep germs away, then also wash your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Meaning?
Germs and disease spread through the hand also. For this, use Dettol soap. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
We are StarTimes, the most affordable digital pay TV platform with the widest signal coverage in Nigeria, dedicated to bringing the best TV entertainment around the world to your screen. From Hollywood to Bollywood to Nollywood, we offer the most affordable subscription. Enjoy over 75 channels for as low as 1,700 naira, like Nat Geo Wild, BBC, ESPN, and premium sports like Emirates FA Cup, La Liga, Bundesliga, wrestling. What's more exciting? We have the most flexible payment options in Nigeria. Don't dull. Join us now for an exciting journey. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
The future belongs to those who leverage on digital innovations. Digital PS International presents DigiTest Online 2021, an online summer camp that brings ages 8 to 18 together across Nigeria, Canada, US, and more countries. Theme: Digital Skills, Pathway to Prosperity. Date: 8 to 16 August 2021. At DigiTest, kids and teens will unearth their potential to create digital products with possibilities of making profits online.
Participation would be virtual with few physical non-residential at the DigiTest Center, Abuja, and we all enjoy a level playing field to compete with students across the globe. Lots of prizes to be won.
Give your kids an opportunity of a lifetime today for only
5,000 naira for virtual and 20,000 naira for physical. To register, visit our website at www.digitalpeers.org/digitestonline2021 or call 08077823307 or 08077823308.
You're welcome back. Have been discussing the issue of the third wave of COVID-19 with Dr. Yahya Disu, NCDC head of Risk Communications Division, who has been telling us about what government is doing to ensure that this latest Delta variant does not spread to Nigerian. And let's talk about communication, awareness, telling people that they need to follow, these pharmaceutical measures that government is putting in place. Apart from that, is our health facilities ready, if we don't pray that this happens, ready to fight and face this Delta variant head on?
Okay, let me start from the last question. Nigeria, we learned from the second wave experience. First wave, treatment centers were open all over the country, flooded with workers, volunteers. So after reopening of the economy and cases went down, many treatment centers were shut down. And during the second wave, because the way it occurred, we find out that many people needed oxygen, and some states have to be looking for where to get oxygen. And so because of that, we know that third wave is definitely coming. And then the federal government has ensured that states have at least the treatment centers that is running, and they have supplies, and they ensure that their personnel are continuously trained, and to ensure that they are able to respond in case there are cases. But what is more important is the prevention, because no matter how many treatment centers we have, if these cases come in numbers, then the healthcare workers will be overwhelmed, even if you have a very large, big treatment center. So, but the role of communication, communication is targeted. That's why for risk communication during emergencies, it is expected that there will be panic, there will be misinformation, and everybody is afraid, and there is information need. And there are people who want to promote conspiracy theories, and that is why we have to ensure that government gives accurate information to the people as at the time they need it, so that you don't create a vacuum. What is the target? Target one is to ensure that people understand they understand the virus and then the damage it can cause, how it is transmitted, the basic information that they need to know about it, and more importantly, how they can protect themselves. Then
I'm coming to you, talking about protection of citizens from COVID-19. The Nigerian government in March 2021 received nearly 4 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines and approved the emergency use of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine in April of the same year. 4 months after, some millions of doses are being expected from 3 additional COVID-19 vaccine brands. Haman Jabani tells us the country's vaccination drive, which will back up what Dr. Yahya Disu just said. We'll be back after that report.
In recent weeks, Nigeria witnessed increase in cases of COVID-19. This development further prompted government at all levels to intensify efforts at protecting the people by making the needed doses of the vaccine available and encouraging their acceptance. This saw the approval of additional vaccine brands by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. Moderna and AstraZeneca vaccines were given full approval, while the Russian Sputnik V received conditional approval. NAFDAC said it has spent at least 15 days examining the dossiers and submission packages of the vaccine brands to ensure that their benefits far outweigh the risks and side effects.
Other studies like immunological responses, incidences of reactogenicity, and possible dose optimization will be done in a cohort of vaccinees.
So far, 1.4 million Nigerians have received full doses of the vaccine, giving Nigeria's estimated 2 million people. This figure is a far cry from complete protection against COVID-19. The good news is that the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency said Nigeria is expecting another 3.577 million doses of Pfizer-BioNTech or Moderna from COVAX in the third quarter, as well as 29.85 million Johnson & Johnson shots purchased by the African Union, as well as the delivery of over 3 million doses of AstraZeneca shots from Global Vaccine Sharing Scheme, COVAX, by the end of July.
Every single state will get one ultra-coaching equipment that can store as many as 250,000 doses of the vaccine.
Against the background of these efforts, it is expected that a good number of Nigerians will soon be vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Thanks for rejoining us. Dr. Yahya Disu is still here. You know, people have been hearing about variants, Delta, and the other names. Can you just briefly tell Nigerians what that Delta variant means and how catastrophic it can be if somebody is infected?
Okay, Delta variant is just another form of the SARS-CoV-2 virus because over time viruses mutate. So it's the same SARS virus that has caused the first outbreak that has mutated, and it has mutated in different forms from different countries. In UK, and later they started naming. Initially they were calling them by countries, then later they started giving them codes. So Alpha for UK, Delta for the one that just occurred in India, and then because when the virus mutates and their building blocks kind of change, and that alters their functions, their survival mechanism, which means they find a way to survive in the host, to beat the host defense. And that is why you now see that they are more transmissible, although the impact is still being studied across the globe to know how deadly this can be. But because it is highly transmissible, for instance, Alpha is like 50% more transmissible than the original virus, while Delta is 60% more transmissible than Alpha. That is almost 99% more transmissible than the original one.
That's a scary situation.
Yes, and then sometimes somebody, before you even know that you have it, you show symptoms, you could infect others. And sometimes it's also difficult to detect this because it binds strongly to the receptors of the lungs. And then so that means sometimes you may even test you that you are negative, but you may still have the virus.
And so you can still transmit.
Oh, yes, definitely. So that is why the only way we can detect it in Nigeria is to ensure that every traveler that comes into the country, they have their samples collected, tested. Now NCDC is now doing genomic sequencing in collaboration with NIMA and the African Center for Genomics Studies in Ede. So to ensure that at least Nigeria is safe. We know we don't have enough vaccines yet, at least. We are expecting vaccines, so we want to urge Nigeria to take these vaccines. This is one of the things communication does. Vaccines are available. Where they get the vaccine, we tell people. More importantly, testing is also key because that's the only way we can detect this. When people have symptoms or you think you are close to people who have been confirmed of this virus, then it's good that you go for testing. Then now, rapid diagnostic kits have been approved, and where you can get your result almost immediately. So although it's been encouraged in situations where you have camps, schools, workplaces, and NCDC is working with the state to build capacity to ensure that people, organizations can do this, or institutions can do this on their own. So one of the things to do is to ramp up testing so that people can quickly know their status, and that can inform decisions.
So will there be enforcement briefly?
The way we are going, if Nigerians continue to throw caution to the wind, there will be enforcement. You know, it is education, engagement, and enforcement. For education, for people to know and to willingly comply, sometimes there might be challenges, factors beyond their control. That's why you need engagement, find a way around it, and see. The principle is to protect transmission, right? And then for those who are adamant, who are laggards, who will not comply, then enforcement will have to come in. So I think in order to protect the interest and the health of the public.
Dr. Yahya Disu, NCDC Head of Risk Communication Division, thank you so much for coming on Weekend File. It's a pleasure having your input on the topic.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break now. When we return, Weekend File continues. Don't go away.
TV Biggie Goes promo don't land. Better diggy levels, better grooves, no hard at all on top Go TV. Make you not miss this a woof as Go TV price don't go down low for inside Biggie Goes promo. Now you fit get Go TV decoder, Go tenor with 1 month max subscription will be 9,500 naira before for 6,900 naira now. See discount. Make yourself enjoy Football's promo now for you. Better discount. Go get your own now for only 6,900 naira to enjoy max levels for Go TV. This offer no go to tell. Go TV. Love it.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Welcome back. Sports Update is here with Bade Adele.
Many thanks, Jume. Let's begin with the Olympics, as Olympic bronze medalist Chika Chukwumereche has commended the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development for the logistics put in place in Japan for Team Nigeria to the 2020 Olympics. In an interview with me on NTA Sports World earlier this evening, the London 2012 captain, who is the personal trainer to medal hopeful in Taekwondo, Elizabeth Anyanacho, says the arrangement makes it easier for the athletes to achieve their set goals.
Usually, if something is not right, really, I will call it out, because that's the way it should be. But logistically, they seem to have gotten this right. The kit came on time. The kit is nice, the food is good, the training facilities are good, the accommodation is good. So, so far there has not been any complaints, and that's the way.
Back home, Kano State is set to host the maiden edition of the Dalaji Legacy Under-17 basketball tournament, which begins on August 8th and ends on August the 14th. 7 northern states will compete in the competition, being sponsored by African Children Talents Discovery Foundation.
We are incorporating the young people and taking them from the negative aspect of symptoms of depression and giving them a life, so that a lot of people who are interested in playing basketball will take advantage of this. And some of them might even get scholarship and all that.
Moving on, Egypt emerged champions of the second African Mini Football Nations Cup after beating neighbors Libya 1-0 in Ibadan on Saturday. Kenei Magbodike reports that Adel Mohamed struck in extra time after a goalless regulation period to hand the Pharaohs the hard-fought win. Egypt, Libya, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, and Ghana will be representing Africa at the 2022 Mini Football World Cup. Congrats to Nigeria there. The CAF, let's go to football now. The CAF Champions League final between Kaizer Chiefs and, of course, Al Ahly just ended. And, of course, Al Ahly, they've just sealed another continental title for themselves, winning the match 3-0. And that will be all on Sports Update. It's back to Jume.
Indeed, Badi is a football week, actually, and we congratulated Nigeria on the win. Now, the body of the late former Nigerian Army Provost Marshal Hussein Ahmed, killed by gunmen along Abuja-Lokoja Road, has been laid to rest according to Islamic rites at the Lunge Barracks Military Cemetery, Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
It was on Thursday, and the general never thought that would be his last journey on earth. Wailing and sobbing temporarily replaced the usual graveyard quietness as the Nigerian army laid to rest one of its strongest and trusted general who made exploits in the counter-insurgency operations in the northeast. After full military compliments, the remains lowered as tears flow on the grieved faces.
The Committee of Progressive
General Hussein Ahmed, who survived even the greatest battles in his career, regrettably murdered on the free Lokoja-Abuja highway on the 15th of July 2021 by gunmen.
For us who are behind, we owe it a duty also to take care and remember what he left behind his family and to be with them in this time of need.
This is somebody that was a major general in the Nigerian army, a serving one. So it is not just about the army or the armed forces, it's about the nation.
The driver of the deceased survived after gunshot, while the sister who was in the vehicle during the incident is still in captivity. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Weather update is next.
These are footage of the continuous and heavy rainfall observed over Marina, Victoria Island, Lagos State on Friday. This shows the intensity of the weather events which resulted in severe flooding with rainfall amounts of 194.5 millimeters. The given rainfall distribution across Lagos resulted from deep cyclonic vortex and deep moisture layer over the region. So for Sunday, there are prospects of thunderstorms over parts of the northeast, as well as parts of Katsina and Kano, leaving other parts of the country in cloudy condition in the morning. As we go into the afternoon and evening hours, the southern cities are expected to experience moderate rains, while thunderstorms are expected over parts of FCT, Benue, Nasarawa Plateau, including most parts of the northeast. I'm Theodora Itu. Thank you for watching.
That's Weekend File. Don't forget, before we go, a quick reminder to step up and join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. I am Jumma Yusuf. Do have a wonderful weekend.